to 9 a.m. We'll call this meeting to order. If you are able, please stand and join me for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And since it's our last meeting with Commissioner Felber as chair, we're going to sing the national anthem. So would you lead us, please? Are we ready?
You ready? Okay.
Isha's going to start it here. She's going to back it up and turn the volume up. So. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what's around at the twilight's last gleam? Whose bright skies and bright stars through the perilous time, around we watched, were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets red and clear, the bumpers singing, gave proof through the night that our flag still there. Oh, say does that star's faithful banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? All right. Well, thank you all for that. Okay.
We are in no danger of being asked to perform at the Vikings games.
I do not think so.
Or get an encore.
All right, so back to regular business. Let's see. I guess at this point we would be a motion to approve the regular meeting proposed agenda. I know that we are going to try to move item 6353 ahead of item 3 for efficiency. Other than that, I'm not aware of any other changes to the main agenda.
You mean item 6.1, sorry.
6.1?
6.1? Move it up to right before consent agenda?
I'll make a
6.1, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the modification of moving 6.1 ahead of item 3 on the agenda.
Yes. Second that. Motion is made by Commissioner Halt, seconded by Commissioner Gray. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Consent agenda. I know we have a clarification on item 2.26. I know we also need to pull item 2.6. And I personally would like to pull items 235, 236, and 237. Other than that, are there any changes to the consent agenda? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the consent agenda as modified.
Is modified.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Danilowski motions, Commissioner Gray seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay, so on to item 2.6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Item 2.6, I've asked that we vote on this separately. There was a business name that did not get updated. So in the motion, it talks about Envision, and that needs to be changed to Sport Tech. There was a change in business ownership in 2016, and so since this is a longstanding agreement, we just didn't get it updated. That would also be a change in the actual agreement. So the motion would be to approve and consent to the transfer, assignment, and assumption of tax abatement property from Sport Tech Incorporated to Patrick Industries as recommended, and then as part of the motion to modify the agreement to reflect the same name change.
I'd make a motion to approve with the modifications.
I'll second.
Moved by Commissioner Halt, seconded by Commissioner Folby. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
And then with respect to item 2.26, just a clarification, the Eagle Eyes Awards this week go to Commissioner Felber, who caught a typo, and Commissioner Danielowski for 2.26. The turnback agreement, which you just approved for a portion of County Highway 53, the turnback agreement itself is correct, but in the background, it did mention Big Lake Township. That is not part of the turnback agreement, is only within the city of Becker. So thanks to Commissioner Danielowski for catching that.
Okay.
Clarification, which item was that?
Item 2.26, and it was a turnback agreement for County Road 53 from County Road 8 down to Snuffy's Landing. And in the background, we'd listed the township of Big Lake. They are not a party to the agreement.
So entertain a motion then at this point?
That was just a clarification, right?
It was part of your consent agenda. I'm just
Sorry.
clarifying.
Get ready to do motions. Let's see. So then we are on to items 235, 236, and 237. I'll just kind of address this as a group, all of them. And I think we probably have to pass them individually or vote on them individually. It just literally boils down for me. I have an objection to the government forcing electric vehicles on people, the billions of dollars that are being spent to force the use of electric vehicles. I know that the feds just approved another $1.6 billion. I know that billions of dollars are being spent in the state of Minnesota, and I just don't think that we should be using tax dollars to force electric vehicles on people. If they were actually a good idea and actually a profitable business, private industry would take care of that. I don't think government funds should be used to promote a particular business. That's my full objection. If anybody else has any comments, otherwise we can vote on them.
I just wanted to make one real quick comment, Mr. Chair. I understand what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but someone is going to get these dollars until the state changes it and doesn't put out these amounts that you can apply for. Someone else in the state will get it. And in having these charging stations, plus the ability to replace some of our fleet with the technology of, there are a lot of people that are driving the electric vehicles in the state, and so that's just my comment on it. This helps our county levy dollars in saving revenue. This is just an application at the moment. It doesn't mean we're gonna get it, but someone will get it. So I would like to see our name in the mix for that opportunity. That's it.
And Mr. Chair, if I could, if we're gonna take these items individually, I'd like to get a summary from the commission, from the administrator on each of these items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Item 2.35, we have actually been, we had applied for this grant last year with board approval, and we were not awarded it during the first award. They came back, MnDOT did, and said that they had excess funds, and so they awarded us 2.35 as actually an award of a grant. That would be for 5 electric vehicles and charging stations that we would use in our fleet. We estimate that the electric vehicle value to us, even after the 20% local match, would save us on vehicle replacement of about $87,500. So that means we don't have to replace 5 other vehicles that we take out of the levy every year to build up our vehicle replacement fund. Items 2.36 and 2.37 are new grant applications for the same or similar program because there are still excess funds. We broke them up into 2 different grant applications because overall there's only like $500,000 available in the fund. We didn't think one new application would be competitive, so we split it in 2. One of the grants would be for EV stations for visitors that they could use. They're slow charge stations, so they're not going to be the fast chargers that people drive up to and can charge in a couple of hours. And that would go in front by the government center. The other one would be for additional fleet vehicles and for chargers for that, and that is a fast charger.
And so on the new application for fleet vehicles, how many vehicles would the intent be for that application?
I believe the two applications in some are an additional 5, but I think it's broken 2 and 3.
So you'd have, so the first application is for.
5
Or
vehicles.
the first acceptance of the grant would be for 5 vehicles. The second 2 would be for an additional 2 and 3.
And we do not anticipate we'll get both new
Right.
applications.
And just roughly, what's our total fleet?
Dan, within general fleet, 20? 16, and then within public works, Andrew?
Oh, goodness, a lot.
Yeah, another 20.
Good
So-
answer.
So we would, we're not intending to replace the entire fleet with EVs. They're not functional for several uses.
Are we on just get on to discussion? I don't know if we're on to discussion yet. Okay. One thing that I get concerned about with EVs is just their overall performance in this climate. So I don't have an issue with accepting grant dollars, especially when it's going to lower our levy costs. What I would say is I would like us to put some specifics around, some metrics around the cost of ownership and operation of these vehicles compared to our gas vehicles, so that in the future, we have a good baseline of which is the more efficient over time for us to operate. Uptime, and that would include things like uptime, just total cost of ownership. So I don't have an issue with accepting, the grants for the vehicles and adding them to the fleet, as long as we measure their performance and compare that against our gas vehicles, so that in the future we can make a good decision. Because if it costs us more in the long run, even though it's a reduced upfront cost because it's a grant, if it costs us more in the long run, it may not make sense.
I would agree 100%, and I would also ask that the board allow us to do one other metrics, and that is, I'll call it usability. There are certain trips that these will be highly functional, and then there's certain trips that they're non-functional. Like when we have to take a child to another state because of a child protection issue, we still need vans, we need regular vehicles. So if you're okay, we would track not only the economics of it, but also the staff response to it. And I will also tell you, we've been in conversation with Enterprise, who does fleet rentals, and when we asked them about EVs, it was mixed. There are counties and cities that do rent them, and there are others that have said they don't meet their needs. So I think we'll have a mixed report card to you within a year or two.
Be clear, this is just giving us permission to apply for the grant. We've never been awarded anything yet.
Item 2.35 is an award, so you would be accepting it.
Okay.
Items 2.36 and 2.37 are 2 separate applications for additional. We do not anticipate we'll get both of them.
Okay. All right.
Just going back, I mean, many times we've talked about at some point saying no to reckless state spending, and I just think this is in that category. So, but
All right.
I do have to concede the other points. There's no question about that, but that's just,
You.
it's one of those things.
Yep.
Throw my sucker in the dirt type deal, I guess.
Yeah, and since we're discussing, Mr. Chair, I appreciate the discussion and the plan going forward to, keep track of all of this. I think diversifying our fleet a bit is a good thing, so.
All right. So, at that point, I guess we'll entertain a motion. Do we need to pass them individually, or can we pass them as a group? As a group. So, a motion to pass items 235, 236, and 237.
So,
I'll move approval of 2.35, 2.36, and 2.37.
Commissioner Foley moves.
Could we add a friendly amendment to the motion to include that we ensure that there are metrics associated with the ownership of the vehicles?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Then I'll second.
Commissioner Hull seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. One motion carries. We can move on. Next item on the agenda is going to be item 6.1. Congratulate the 2024 Farm Family of the Year and receive an update from the University of Minnesota Extension. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks to all of you for giving us a few minutes of your time this morning. Our primary objective, as it is every year at this time, is to introduce you to our 2024 Farm Family of the Year, which is a quite impressive family. Before I do that, though, we have some new staff members, so we asked for a few extra minutes to introduce them to you. As you know, Sherburne County has a partnership with Benton, Morrison, and Stearns counties for agriculture educators shared, and that allows them to specialize in certain areas. You have 4 educators. You have a livestock educator, Dana Adams. You have a horticulture educator, Quincy Sadowski, and you have 2 new educators, Jackie Estrom and Lauren Heers. Jackie is what used to be our crops educator. The position's been a little bit rewritten, but her expertise is in more traditional crops and soil. Lauren's expertise is small farms and local foods. I'm going to bring them up and let them talk a little bit about where they come from. They've only been here for a few months, but what they're excited about and what they've been working on in those couple of months. So,
Hi everybody, morning. My name is Lauren Heers. I'm the Small Farms Local Foods Educator. I have my degree, my Bachelor of Science from the U of M in Sustainable Agriculture and Food Systems. I did a lot of work in civic agriculture and community development while I was there, and since, where I worked with diversified farms and urban farms, community gardens. I'm from the cities, but my family farms southern eastern Minnesota, so I have experience with both small-scale diversified farms and larger row cropping systems, as well as livestock operations. Since starting, it's been a busy fall. We've done some land rent workshops, which took a few months planning, but those were all success. And since I'm working on an agritourism workshop in January, organic row cropping event with Jackie in March, and some other things in the works as well in other counties. But it's been a fun fall. I'm looking forward to continuing to get to know the producers in the area. I really love working farm to school and farmers markets as well, so I'm hoping to get more connected with the schools in Sherburne County and see if we can't get some kind of farm to school program going. I think that's about it. There's just the tip of the iceberg, but yeah, that's kind of the spiel.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Jackie Estrom. I'm the other new educator in the Quad Counties. As Lori said, my area of focus is in sustainable ag, soil health, and water quality. My background is more in row crops, and I'm replacing a row crops position. So it's very much a row crops focused position with an emphasis on sustainability. I would say the program that I'm most excited about this year is the Minnesota Irrigators Program. This is a statewide program put on by the U of M generally every year. It's been going on for about 3 years now. It's been in different places across the state, but this year it's going to be in Becker, which means that I get to help with it. And I'm very excited to bring that resource to Sherburne County.
So since we have a couple of new folks on our staff, we do ask for your help. I think they have met a couple of the county commissioners, but you guys know everybody. In the county, you know the farms, you know the people that they should be connected to, the people they should meet with, the partnerships that we should have. So anything you're willing to do to help us out with that, introduce them to some of your connections, help us get to know everybody so that we can do the best possible work in the county, we would appreciate that. So without further ado, go
I have
ahead.
a real quick question, Lori. Have they connected with the cities that do the community gardens and the farmers markets in the county? Okay, so you've made those connections. Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, but those kind of suggestions, please do send those our way anytime you have them, because they're invaluable for us. So the Krentz family, I would like to ask them to come on up. The Krentz family is our 2024 Farm Family of the Year. And I think I've mentioned this before, but one of the things that I just love about Sherburne County is that you are different than all the other counties in that you actually have more farms today than you did not so long ago. They're not big farms, they're little ones. You have a lot of unique things going on in this county. And when I was reading about the Krentz family, I realized that they are that. They're doing a lot of really cool things. So I'm pretty excited to tell you about them. I'm gonna read a little bit about the family. I've been told the 2 little ones are out of school this morning, so it's a treat for them. But Josh and Maria. Josh is a third-generation farmer who was raised on a diversified dairy farm in Fall Creek, Wisconsin. Maria grew up on a rural property with animals in Mirabel, Wisconsin, after they both attended the University of Wisconsin, River Falls. Is that where you met? Yes. Maria attended the University of Wisconsin-Madison and received a doctorate in veterinary medicine. Josh attended Colorado State University and received a master's degree in business. Josh and Maria settled in Princeton, where they purchased their farm in 2007. The farm was a corn-soybean rotation, and they committed to changing the landscape of that land. Highland cattle and Shetland sheep animals were introduced in 2008. The couple slowly transformed the entire farm into a grass operation. The next generation of farmers includes Josh and Maria's children, Hadley and Brixton, who have grown into big helpers on the farm. Is that true? Yes. Today, Windland Flats, the Krenz family farm, consists of almost 100 acres of land that is intensively rotationally grazed with a herd of AHCA-registered Highland cattle. The family rotationally produce and make hay on the pasture land. Using legumes and grasses, the Krenzes have implemented sustainable farming practices, including no-till, intensive rotational grazing, and creating a biodiverse pasture. The family has planted over 3,500 trees on the farm and installed a solar system. Highland cattle are grass-fed, and beef is sold directly to consumers. Shetland sheep are sheared, and the family sells wool products. The farm is home to an NPIP-certified hatchery. The Krenzes hatch show chickens to provide local 4-H and other poultry enthusiasts with locally sourced for NPIP-certified chicks and chickens. The farm is in the Minnesota Agriculture Water Quality Certification Program and participates in Minnesota Grown. Josh handles the daily activities of the farm and manages cattle breeding. Maria oversees animal health, sheep, and chicken breeding. Hadley and Brixton alter and train all the sheep and the chickens for show. They help feed and show a variety of animals. Josh and Maria are both 4-H volunteers and are involved in several county 4-H committees. Hadley and Brixton are Clover Buds in the Silver Lake 4-H Club. Josh is the current national president for the American Highland Cattle Association and has served on numerous committees. He also serves as the District 5 supervisor for Sherburne SWCD. The Krenz family actively supports the Princeton FFA, the Discover Montessori Academy, and participates in the Princeton School District's Down on the Farm events. The Krenz family members are members of several cattle breeding and farm organizations. Josh is the past president of the North Central NAMA and award winner of the Horizon Award. Maria's veterinary practice, ZimVet, was named 2021 American Animal Hospital Association Clinic of the Year. So I think you will share my enthusiasm for this year's Farm Family of the Year. You may know that Farm Family it's not only a family that has a successful farm practice in the county, but it's also a family that's very involved and gives back in a number of ways, and this family certainly is that. So my congratulations to you all. We have a certificate and an award, but we'd like to invite you up to say a few words.
Thank you, Lori. Appreciate it, commissioners. Appreciate the honor, and we've certainly, since we landed in this community in 2007, it really has become our home. Trying to bring the next generation up to do the same thing for the types of experiences that we had. Tried to do that in our volunteer work with 4-H and FFA and other things as well. So we appreciate it. There's a lot of farms, a lot of diversity in this county. It's important that we celebrate it, and really appreciate that honor. Also want to point out Austin Voigt is here with us as well. We couldn't manage our farm without Austin. He's our full-time employee as well, and he's part of our family. So we appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity.
As usual, if we could get a picture with the family and the board, that would be wonderful.
Certainly, we can.
Behind, usually the door. I'm unemployed.
Yeah, stand with the board. You guys got to jump in. We got the family, everybody. Jump on, taking a picture.
There he is. Yeah. Go over with Stand behind. Go on Andrew's side there. Okay, let's do it together, so, right? All right, 1, 2, 3. You want to use your flash, so. This is a little dark. All right, and then you guys look this way. We're trying a different angle, see if we get better lighting. Because there's things inside my shoulder. Congratulations. So, congratulations. So you herd sheep, you herd cats too? Yeah?
They're good little trainers.
They're good trainers? All right.
That's great. Josh forgot to mention the horses we have, but you know, we'll let them overlook.
Good to see all of you.
I've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to sleeping in my bed. Well, that's good, yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, gosh.
next item on the agenda will be the open forum. Is there anybody here for open forum?
There is nobody signed up, Chair.
Okay, no open forum. Then we will move on to announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. I'm going to go through some announcements here and then ask you to come back down for a couple of photos as well. So the first one, we highlighted this last meeting, but we just got the award, so I'm going to circulate so you can take a look at it, and then Keisha will grab it. We'll do a picture with Andrew and David. This is from the State of Minnesota Department of Transportation Merit Award for Outstanding Performance in recognition of our contributions to a construction project located in Sherburne County on CASA 1 from County Road 32 to County State Aid Highway 4, deemed to be the best in its class, completed in Minnesota in 2024. So congratulations to Andrew and our Public Works staff. And if you guys, oh, they're all here, good. So we're gonna get a picture with everybody here in a minute. But just for logistics, you guys okay waiting a second? Thank you. And Andrew, why don't you introduce everybody first, so because I don't know if the board knows everybody. Please, yeah. And if you really want to make them awkward, make them all say something, you know.
Thank you, I appreciate the opportunity. I don't know if I'm gonna make them say anything, I think they're already a little perturbed with me. No, so we did bring the staff in, we've got, obviously myself and then David Rodell, John Adama helped design the project. We've got Brack in the middle there, that's our construction supervisor, and then we've got Tanner and Chris on his wings there that help boots on the ground out in the field and work with the contractor every day to complete this fabulous project, so, thank you.
And if do you guys want to go down and do it now so that these guys get back to work? Let's do it. We'll take our pictures now, so. Okay. It was just Andrew and making wait, so. Okay. Come on, guys. Right against the, yeah, just stand right back again. Perfect.
He told us not to wear hats and hoodies, but he didn't give us.
Hats and hoodies, I like it.
It's squeezed, it's all good.
Oh, Dave, you're making me work here.
No,
no, come on.
Are we good?
All right, we're good. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. All right, congratulations, guys. Thank you. Nice job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Thank you. Hey, nice job. As usual, right?
Great job.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Nice job.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Hey, awesome job. Thank you. Really appreciate it. I'd say nice job, but you know.
Y'all have fun.
Good work. Never gets old.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
We done now?
All right.
Discuss if we're announcing.
Other announcements real quick. little bit of a calendar call, just a reminder of some things coming up and then some notes. Today, this afternoon, is the NACO Central virtual meeting, if anybody's participating. I do have the link if you didn't keep it. That starts at 1:15 p.m. A reminder that the 19th is the EDA meeting, if anybody is attending, so end of the year meeting. Also, a note that on the 24th of December, the Government Center will be closed. It is one of our holidays. However, the courts wing will be open. So if anybody asks and they're confused, we are closed, but courts will still have a calendar call on the 24th. Well, I know you said we had to be open, so. Okay, sorry, no calendars as of yet. So, yeah, Kathy's happy with that. Sorry,
That's good.
very good catch.
That's good news, being as I have jury duty for the next 2 weeks, so that's great. Thank you.
Getting into January, just a reminder, the organizational meeting of the county board must be scheduled for the 9 a.m. on the 7th. And in addition, we will be conducting a regular business meeting immediately following the organizational meeting. At that time, we will be taking photos. So for our returning commissioner and our new commissioner, we'll take photos and then a full photo of the entire board. So if you all would like to dress up really good, that would be great. And then on the 20th of January, just to note that MICA has announced its legislative forum. That's an afternoon and evening meeting down in Prior Lake. I will be sending that out to you so you can write down the specific information. But MICA does a really good job of their legislative forum, so beware that that's coming up as well. Looking out a little further, on the 22nd through the 24th of January is AMC's County 101. Commissioner-elect Schumacher has indicated he will be participating. I think some of your staff will also go and participate with that as well. Then looking into February, the 26th and 27th of February is the AMC Legislative Conference down in St. Paul. And again, we'll be walking the halls with our legislative policies, and we'll be discussing those in January as part of that business meeting. In March, reminder, the 1st through the 4th is the NACO Legislative Conference. If you are interested in attending, if you would please let us know as soon as possible. The hotels have already filled up at the main hotel in DC, so Keisha is booking folks either across the street or somewhere in the immediate area. The what? Oh, so, but we would like to know again who is interested in attending the NACO Legislative Conference. Also, I didn't bring the date again, but Dan, do we know if anybody signed up for, or did anybody sign up for the State Chamber of Commerce dinner? Okay, so I think either Dan or I will attend with Deb from the area chambers here, just to keep an eye. The state chamber is quite active at the legislature, so it's a good relationship to have up. And then finally, just a couple of end-of-year awards. First is Commissioner Phoebe will be leaving us after this meeting, and want to thank her on behalf of staff and the county board for 8 incredible years of service. And again, I'll do both of these, and you can come down for a photo. But as tradition, we have a plaque for Commissioner Phoebe, and it says, presented to Lisa A. Phoebe with sincere appreciation for the 8 years of outstanding leadership and dedication you have given the citizens as Sherburne County Commissioner 2017 through 2024, presented this 17th day of December 2024 from all of us here at Sherburne County. So thank you for 8 wonderful years. We'll have more fun in a few hours, but I wanted you to know how amazing you've been, and a strong advocate for staff and also for the community, and the service being top-notch and also being exceptionally focused on constituent services. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce.
And then as part of that, I do have to tell you, I have to retire this tie. So I think you guys gave it to me last year as a gag gift, but I hold it near and dear. So I am taking it off officially, and I'm going to ask if each of you would sign it for me so we can retire this tie, and maybe we'll get a new one. So
He's so happy. He's so
He
happy.
doesn't have to wear us around his neck anymore.
so I will go tieless for the rest of the meeting, although I did bring, of course, my Family Guy tie, so we'll be good. But please, if you would, just stretch it out, sign your names so we can officially retire the tie, and that will be a fun thing to do. Our second notice And award is for our chairman, who will be no longer chair this year. And so we present to Commissioner Greg Felber in appreciation of your service as the citizens of Sherburne County as the 2024 chairperson of the Sherburne County Board of Commissioners. Also presented the 17th day of December 24 from all of us here at Sherburne County. As a condition, though, of letting you step down as chair, we have two requirements. One is that we pass on the Gregism book of famous Greg phrases so that we can continue that as a tradition. And number two is that you continue to lead us spontaneously in songs once in a while, even though we didn't do so well today, as Commissioner Hulse noted. So with that, if you guys would be willing to step down here, I'd like to get a photo of one with Commissioner Phobie and one with Commissioner Felber. I try, but you guys need your exercise. All right, one. Well, I'll get there. Perfect. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then I'll set that on your desk and grab Greg's if you want to switch positions. It's very complicated.
I thought we should go back and sit down.
Yeah, you'll go back, sit down, and come back again.
We're gonna challenge the screen.
All right. 1, 2, 3. And one more. Wonderful. Thank you.
Are we done now?
We are done. You
Is
can
that
go
the
back
end
and
of
do
it?
that.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
We're certainly getting more exercise in the usual meeting.
Getting our steps in.
Okay. Outstanding. Let's see.
There's one of them.
All right, so at this point, we're going to recess the regular meeting and open the Regional Rail Authority meeting. The first item on that will be the approval of the regular rail meeting proposed agenda. If I could get a motion at this point.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gray,
A second?
second by Commissioner Danilowski. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is to approve the Regional Rail Authority meeting minutes from September 3rd, 2024.
So moved?
Moved by Commissioner Phobie,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hulse. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries. And then next item is to consider and approve certification of the 2025 Regional Rail Authority levy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Dan, do you want to say a few words on this one? You need to, you need to explain why it's zero, though, so. This is the good news one,
This
so.
has to be the best one of the year.
This is the levy that is zero, is what we're recommending, and that's because of the local option sales tax is paying the fees that are still, or the costs that are still out there.
And so what that really means is when you get questions about the local option sales tax, one of the answers is it allows us to lower the Regional Rail Authority levy to zero.
Correct.
You'll also notice in the budget, there is still some funds being expended, and that is for the link. That is our agreement. That's the bus that runs there. But you'll notice that North Star itself is not in there.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hulse,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, motion carries. And at this point, we'll adjourn the Regional Rail Authority meeting. We'll reopen the regular business meeting, and the next item on the agenda will be consider approval of the name change to existing interim use permit for Highway Planned Unit Development Acorn Mini Storage. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. So the Planning Commission recommended approval of the interim use permit with the 11 conditions and the findings of fact.
Outstanding, thank you. At this point, we entertain a motion.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Gray,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Phobie. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next will be consider approval preliminary final simple plat of Roebeck Edition for Jeremy and Tracy Roebeck.
And this is for 2 lots. This is up in Zimmerman in Livonia Township in the General Rural District. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 2 conditions in your packet.
Mr. Chair, I'll move approval.
Commissioner Phobie moves approval.
I'll second.
Danilowski seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next is to consider approval of an interim use permit for home business and accessory building, dog grooming, for Rhonda Murray.
And this is also up in the Zimmerman area in the General Rural District, actually in Blue Hill Township. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 8 conditions in your packet and the findings of fact.
Outstanding, thank you. Motion?
I'll move that.
Commissioner Gray moves.
I'll second.
Commissioner Phobie seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next will be to consider approval of an interim use permit for home, business, and accessory building design and engineer 10-meter radios for Tyler and Brandy Plitz, I believe.
And this is in Orac Township in the General Rural District. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 5 conditions and the findings of fact.
Outstanding.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Danilowski moves to approve.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Gray seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Do you need to?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a conflict of interest in number 6, so I will be abstaining from this.
Wait for a minute.
Mr. Chair, if the minutes could identify that the commissioner stepped down from the dais.
Thank you. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to consider approval of an interim use permit for a solar-related business for XL Energy.
This is the Paul Gray et al. Property. This is up in Clear Lake Township in the Agricultural District. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 5 conditions and the findings of fact.
Outstanding. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move approval.
Mr. Phobie moves to approve.
Mr. Chair, I'll second.
Commissioner Danilowski seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, we'll have consider approval of conditional use permit for communication towers and antennas for XL Energy.
And this is up in Clear Lake Township in the Agricultural Zoning District. This one's rather unique because it's specifically just for their own network for XL Energies. I don't know that we've ever had something like that come before us in the past. Planning Commission recommended approval with 3 conditions and a findings of fact.
Okay, we'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Halt,
I'll second that.
second by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Very much. Got through that pretty quickly. Now next, we're going to receive, review, and accept the Auditor Treasurer's Monthly Report for November 2024. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm going to try to get through this without choking. I have a cough drop in my mouth, so we'll get through this. So, enclosed are the November trial balance prepared by Accounting Manager Sherlyn Kastner, and our 3-page investment report prepared by Finance Officer Brenda Davis. Investments are above budget by $1,963,963.70 at the end of November. Our interest earnings this year to date are $3,155,630.37 compared to $2,675,463.54 last year. So we're ahead of last year by $480,100 $480,166.83 from the previous year's numbers. The general fund balance shows behind that of last year's balance by $20,228,742.55. That includes ARPA funds of $2,582,738.76, and the Recorder's Compliance Fund of $530,115. The very large difference from last year is due to the timing of the Period 2 settlement. This year's settlement was on December 2nd, 2024, versus November 28th of 2023. There was that late holiday weekend in 2024 is what moved it back into the next month. So that's why that's looking a little bit odd for you. The budget to actual report is the page 6, and that's budget actual by function. This is the modified accrual report. I also included in your packet the tax settlement distribution. Sorry, I'm kind of flying through this, but that shows the Period 2 tax settlement, which is distributed and paid on December 2nd. The copy is included in your packet for your information. Note that Period 3 tax settlement will be distributed in January 2025 after the year-end balance. Our audit for 2024 is with Clifton Larson Allen. They will be conducting it in 2024 per our contract. The CLA audit team will be actually at the county January 20th to start their 2024 process. We have already started conversations with them and started the process for year-end. A brief update on elections. We have completed all of our recounts for the general election. We did, however, have Elk River Ward 2-2A picked at the state canvassing board for their procedural review. They do similar to our canvas board where they do a lottery draw, and we got lucky. So it's not the first time we've done the procedure review, so we will be getting the information on that in January and be working with them through that process. And that's the extent of my report for today. So if you have any questions for me.
Questions or comments? Fantastic job, as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you
Mr.
all for your
You did a
support.
great job powering through all the recounts. A good job.
With the board's permission, a couple things. Lorraine and Dan and I did do a bond rating call. We haven't had one for
Since 2017.
several years because we're not issuing bonds. Did you want to give a brief summary of that?
What the S&P Global is who did the bond rating call, and they are basically looking at our financial statements from the last 3 years and comparisons, and they are looking for narratives on what the differences were from year to year. So they are then going to take that information and our current information. Also, they look at our website and how we present to the county constituents, and they will be doing a bond determination that they'll let us know in the next month what that determination is.
Just for board information, there was significant conversation about the transition of Sherco and the impact that will have on the tax base, which does put downward pressure on our bond rating. So we're aware of that. Obviously, it's beyond our control, beyond what we're trying to do in the economic development world. But other than that, I think there were really no other significant issues.
Their main concern was the investment to market value that was on our last couple of reports that really bounced around because of what the interest rates did to the market value of our investments. Again, that's all modified accrual, not actual cash basis. So we are still a very stable county. They weren't actual losses. It was in market value only, so that will bounce around a little bit. So we did have to explain that process through to the person that we talked to. So.
And then second comment on elections, and Commissioner Felber, I know you made a comment. Just a note for the board, now that the recount process is in the rearview mirror, as soon as the state gives us permission, we will conduct our final review of election night challenges that we had, and we'll prepare that for the board for a future board meeting. So As you noticed, we gave you an interim update or initial update. And so we'll be working either in-house or if needed with somebody from the state to complete that for the board.
Yes. And I also want to let you know that Paul Linnell from the Secretary of State's office did contact me through email and gave the commissioners and Bruce and our whole office, they were very impressed at how we handled the aftermath of our error. They were physically here during the 14B recount, and they were very impressed how everything was handled, how we laid out everything for the public, and were very transparent to them. So I thank you all for your help with that, because we couldn't have done it without all of you. So.
Thank you. Any further comments?
No, I just want to say thank you to all your staff too for all your hard work during a challenging time.
Outstanding. All right, well, then we're done. Thank you very much.
We do require a motion?
Yes, we do require a motion. And do we need a motion to accept the Auditor Treasurer's report?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Holtz,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Danilowski. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. So then, next, we're going to consider resolution number 121724-AD3183, establishing the 2025 county elected official salaries. Mr. Messel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Annually, by statute, first of all, the county board has to set its own salaries for the future year, and then also considers salaries for the elected officials. The elected officials get together, have a conversation, and then present a recommendation to the administration department, and then we forward it to the board. This year, we are recommending the changes in your RBA for the elected positions of sheriff, attorney, auditor, treasurer, and recorder. The increases are commensurate with what is generally being offered to both union and non-union employees. When you look at kind of total package, I would just note that with 3 of the 4 elected officials, we also support got to get the right word here, a public health care savings plan contribution. So that is something that is done with the 4th position, because it's an appointed position at this time. That officer remains on the other health care plan. But we do recommend approval. Again, it's within range. The comparison this year was more of the department heads as compared to externals. But if you've been watching the paper, for instance, Anoka County just set theirs. The external comparisons actually have us a little bit low on most of our elected officials, especially with the experience that you see at the back of the room. So I do recommend approval, and then we have budgeted for this amount.
Okay. It should be noted that County Attorney Haney stepped down from the dais prior to this discussion. Other than that, do we have any further discussion, or do we have a motion?
Mr.
Mr.
Chair, I'll
Chair?
make, oh, go ahead, sorry.
I'll move approval of resolution number 121724-AD-3183, establishing county elected official salaries for 2025.
Mr. Chair, I'll second.
Commissioner Philby moves, Commissioner Danilowski seconds. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. And then next, we are going to consider approval of resolution 121724-AD3171, establishing the 2025 salaries for county commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. So this goes into that awkward bucket where you're setting your own salaries, and we do appreciate.
Can't step down.
Yeah, you all can step down, right? We do appreciate the situation that you're put in by statute. Technically, a previous board sets the salary for a future board, so that's why it has to be done in December. A few years ago, the county board modified its policy and asked for additional information for comparisons. So in the RBA, we've attached that for you, which is what you've asked for comparisons. We, just for default purposes, prepared the resolution with a 2.5 increase in compensation for commissioners. Again, I note for the community, this does not include mileage and per diem. That was rolled into the compensation package several years ago to equalize that and to make it less of a focal point. However, we do, as you know, support with fleet vehicles where we can for commissioner travel. The recommendation for 2.5, if you do the comparisons that we've presented, is probably on par, but it is a little bit lower than, again, what the general compensation package is for the rest of the employees. So it is just a conversation point, and the board can act on the resolution or can modify it, but you do have to have some action today for next year's salaries.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'll motion to approve the resolution 121724-AD-3171, establishing the 2025 salaries for the Sherburne County Commissioners.
Commissioner Demolski moves. Your second.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Gray seconds. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Holtz?
I think the main thing, if I'm correct, this would be the lowest increase of any of the groups within the county. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm a big believer in leaders eat last. So I've heard the arguments that have been made around making sure that anybody can serve in these roles, but I also believe that we need to lead by example, and leading by example in this case is being extremely conservative with what we approve for ourselves. So I think this is this is acceptable, and so I would be in favor.
Any other commentary? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. And then we are going to move on next to consider the adoption of the 2025 annual budget and associated levies. Okey doke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the commission, you can take these when you are done with your discussion individually. Kathy, do you prefer, or en masse for the budget and the levies?
For the levies, each one should be.
So we would ask that the resolutions be adopted separately, and there are 3 of them. What I will do is not spend a lot of time summarizing, since you've saw the presentation at Truth and Taxation, but I would start first and foremost with a thank you. First to you as a board for your leadership. If you recall, we start talking about the budget in about April, and it results in the creation of a budget by your department heads and then presented in July for consideration, August, preliminary levy and budget discussion in September, and then the final budget today. In addition, I need to thank our department heads for their work. They keep a pretty tight hold on the fiscal controls of each department. As you know, we have some pretty good operating procedures. That personnel budget is kind of offhands for them, but they are allowed and have some freedom to move financially around to operate what I'll call day-to-day with big changes coming back to the board. That in particular has to go to Lorraine and her staff as well, because we have one of the best audit staff internally as well as externally, and keep a really good control on that. And anytime you sit through a Clifton Larson Allen audit or a bond call, we realize how fiscally sound the organization is. And that, last but not least, I do want to thank Dan. Dan does the day-to-day work on the budget, and Chrissy assists him. This is one of the few organizations I've been in that I don't have to do day-to-day operational management of the budget, because we have such a crack staff that does it. And the reliance upon Dan and the accuracy that he undertakes that task very seriously is indispensable to the organization. So what we present to you today is the culmination of that effort again for this year. We are foreshadowing, some tough budget discussions next year, which we all expect. But we're pleased with the presentation of the budget today at a 3.99% levy increase, which is clearly in the lower category of all counties in the state and also in our counterpart counties. But we do believe that it does meet the strategic objectives outlined in the request for board action. So with that, we'll stand for any questions, but if the board would consider approving the resolutions one at a time, that would be outstanding. Thank you.
Outstanding. So I guess the initial would be to approve resolution, a motion for 121724 AD 3172.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Commissioner Danilowski motions.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Gray seconds. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, first of all, I want to thank the staff for their work on the budgets this year, because I think it was difficult work, but it was very good work. I do agree with Administrator Messelt that I think we're coming into some lean years. And so I think we need to be prepared for that. And I think we need to act accordingly. I think that's just a bit of foreshadowing of what I expect to see, especially with our issues with our tax capacity in the county, and and other external factors. So I think they are going to be some challenging discussions, and we just need to be prepared for that, and prepared for the hard work going forward. But I also don't want to diminish the hard work that went into this year's budget, and all the effort that everybody put forth. And I think it's good work.
Thank you. Any other commentary? No, I mean, yeah, obviously they did a great job on the budget. Really do appreciate it. So, hearing no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. The next will be to approve resolution 121724 AD 3173, which should be the actual property tax levy.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Commissioner Danilowski motions.
I'll second.
Commissioner Phobie seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. And the last but not the least will be number 121724 AD-3174, then thereby certifying the 2025 regional rail levy.
And just a reminder, the reason why you feel like you voted on this twice is, as the Regional Rail Authority Board, you recommend it to the full board. So even though it's the same folks, it's a dualism. So that's why we have it first. Now you, as the county board, approve the recommendation from the authority.
It's just a good thing we get along with the Regional Rail Authority Board.
I hear their chair is really tough to deal with, though. So.
They're just good people.
All right. So, with all of that, I guess we need to entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Commissioner Gray makes the motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Danilowski seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, and that also passes. All right. So we would be on to, at this point, Commissioner correspondence, committee reports, upcoming meetings, and future agenda items. Who would like to go first?
I can go real quick. I was on vacation for a good part of this week, but still, there were three major things that we were involved with. First off, obviously, we were all involved with the Truth in Taxation meeting. Obviously, that went quite well, all things considered. So I wanted to again publicly acknowledge the work that Administrator Messelt and Dan put into that. I thought the presentation was extremely well done. Secondly, I had the Mississippi Watershed meeting. That was the final meeting of the policy committee, which means that's a 2-year process, I think it is, that we went through to close out the planning portion of the Mississippi watershed. It now moves on to the implementation phase, which will become a joint powers organization, and we'll appoint someone to sit on the joint powers board for that. But then that becomes a 10-year program for implementation and for working on the cleanup of the Mississippi watershed. And I look forward to that implementation. I think that'll be a great program. Follows along the Rum River watershed that started implementation a couple years ago. There is a possibility that some money could be let by Bowser in 2025. That could get used in 2025 for some smaller projects. A lot of things have to align for that to work, but that's the path that they're going down. And then the last thing I want to mention is I participated in a podcast that same day. That was a pretty busy day. That same day with the executive chair of the Republican Party and former chairman David Hann on the going over in detail what actually occurred on election night to put out to their organization and to the public. So went over in detail all the issues that came up on election night, explained what happened, how it happened, what the changes that we're recommending to the Secretary of State's office, to the manufacturers, and then some internal process changes as well to help catch these, and it was extremely well received. So that went extremely well, and I think that helped, that podcast really helped to clarify that even though there was an issue on election night, it was handled as openly and as transparently as the county can make it. So we got a lot of kudos for the staff from that group as well. So, and that's what I did.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. December 5th, I had a Connexus Energy Forum and breakfast. Connexus Energy serves what Excel does not serve in our county, and it is a member-owned organization. They laid out really well what their future plans are and continuing to provide reliable and affordable energy for the areas that they serve. Also, as Commissioner Hulls referred to, we did have the 2025 Budget and Levy Truth and Taxation meeting, and that went well. Also attended on December 8th through the 11th, the AMC Annual Conference, and particularly on December 8th, attended the Economic Development and Workforce and Housing Subcommittee event. They had a very good presentation in regards to where our status is for those needs in our state. And at the same time, also during our policy committee platform meetings, we as Sherburne County that I move forward the couple of policy platform amendment proposals that were approved. One has to do in workforce housing and the needs for affordable housing. And I just wanted to read something that I found really hits the nail on the head on how important affordable housing across the board is. Housing impacts Minnesotans of all backgrounds and all corners of the state. Housing touches all areas of life, education, health, jobs, and more. So that's the importance of why we are engaging in working through where we're at right now on the cost of housing and how it's impacting us as a state and us as a county as well. Also wanted to highlight, we did request a policy amendment to move up the need to stay on top of the childcare changes in the regulations. And that being said, I did get an email that DHS is getting ready to release their second updated draft of what they're proposing to change in the regulations for childcare in the state of Minnesota. So we need to stay on top of that as well. Not sure, I think it's going to probably be released in about the next month, so we'll stay tuned for more on that information. Also then attended the Big Lake Township meeting on December 11th. December 12th had our CMRP meeting, Central Mississippi River Partnership. We moved to approve the articles of incorporation, so we are now getting ready to go down the path of becoming a C4. So stay tuned for more updates on that as we move into it. Also looked at looking at a logo change potentially, so we had some options that were put in front of us. That'll come back to us at a later date. We did a review of the bylaws, so that's all in process. And had the, attended the employee holiday lunch that day. Great turnout, and also got an opportunity to join the employees that did their annual caroling through the county. And that was very much appreciated, and sometimes not. If people are on the phone, we tried to be considerate of their workspace, but it was a fun event. And had my St. Cloud APO meeting that evening, and then December 13th, had the Tri-County Executive Board meeting. We are working on trying to determine what it is we want to start focusing on in regards to long-term planning options, which include waste to energy, the anaerobic digestion thought, a transfer station, and working on ramping up recycling efforts as well. So that is a work in progress. We're also looking to determine, along with these long-term planning thoughts, how it will affect our long-term planning with the Pope Douglas as well. So stay tuned for more information on that one. And then also attended the 2024 mandatory harassment training that afternoon. And that does it for me.
Next.
December 4th, I did, met with XL by Zoom with, they did the discussion on the battery demonstration project by Forum, which is the multi-day iron air thing that's going through. Rayanne mentioned it already, the Connexus breakfast, which I thought was really good. XL puts one on, but it's on a much larger scale. I think the Connexus one was a lot smaller, a lot more discussion, intimate event that created more of a better discussion amongst the participants.
We had a good amount of legislators.
Yes, we did. I did attend the One Watershed, One Plan meeting. I was in the back of the room. Andrew, you were by Zoom. That was the public hearing in regards to that. We talked about the TNT, the AMC conference, the 8th through the 11th. The thing I'll say about that is two of our employees did a presentation, Kelly and Leah, from the first steps, which they did a tremendous job. I think was well attended, and there was a lot of interest in the program that we have a joint powers board with Wright, Stearns and Benton. I think was a great thing. Then that afternoon on the 11th, I did the MICA meeting. Commissioner Phobie was there. I think our legislative platform for stuff moving forward will be pretty much mimic what AMC is doing. Lots of so we'll have to do that. Then on December 12th, we periodically by Zoom attended the Shack meeting. We were in and out with all the things that were going on that day. So that was me.
Commissioner Phobie? Me go?
I'd like to go last.
Okay, fine. Let's see, I went to we offered through our DIB committee, went to the Indigenous training, which was good, Indigenous education. It was on Dakota traditions, which was very good. I went to I sat through a webcast on the Minnesota Coalition of Lake Associations Protecting Our Public Waters. Their three issues were water quality, aquatic invasive species, and enhanced wake activities. Aquatic waves and species, one point from that is that there's a new type of milfoil, hydrilla, and it's really bad, but it's coming north, and we'd probably not be able to stop it, but it's going to be a lot of work to maintain it. On the enhanced wake activities, it's basically a discussion of wake boats. Now, they look like they're a lot of fun, but wake boats actually generate waves that, in terms of total energy, are equal to that of the ocean. So they're very destructive and actually have caused injuries to people along the shoreline. They also can disturb the bottom sediments, actually pulling plants and matter up as deep as 20 feet. So this is going to be something that's coming at us down the line. There's going to be requests for action on this. Wisconsin is currently considering a statute that would require them to operate 700 feet from shore and no shallower than 20 feet. So that's the kind of thing we're going to be looking at. Nobody's going to say you can't have a wake boat, but they're going to say we're going to have to operate them slightly different. I think that that's a pretty good point. I went to the Energy Transition Advisory Committee. We had a lot of talk about what's coming in with the data centers, loss of revenue up in Becker. It's still 68% of their stuff. And there's a big workforce issue that's actually attached to this that was discussed there. And then there is up north in Itasca County, they're having a Just Transition Fund, which is about diversifying our regional economy and that kind of things to compensate for the loss of your coal plant. So there's some good stuff there. We'll be keeping up on that. Truth and Taxation, went to that like everyone else. For the AMC conference, there's just an awful lot you could probably talk about for the AMC conference. Tribal Relations Forum I went to, there was a tribal training and certification program that helps to people to respond and appropriately to the Indian Child Welfare Act. That was a good part of that one. Public safety, the big thing that came out of public safety is we're going to need about $300 million statewide for radios. So buckle up and get ready for that. Workforce on changes on county. One thing that I didn't realize was happening is that CDL drivers are getting hard to find. So there's a lot of states that are setting up, or a lot of areas that are setting up programs to get people to drive trucks. I may have to get my license back, although I don't know if I can sit there behind the wheel that long anymore. Yeah, I used to have one. That's a shocker. I know. Dakota County has been having a lot of work with centralizing their stuff. That was a good thing that I got out of that. It was a thing on making your county more efficient. They're also using a lot of electric vehicles, which they say work for them. We'll see how that goes. And then First Amendment, I did go through a thing on First Amendment audits. That was a really good idea. Just people coming in and wanting to film public officials or public workers in their space. That was a very, very good one. Basically, just let them film you. And then there was went to update with Excel, which is we've already talked about that. And then there was a program on managing the market. That we're essentially going to, and I think we're doing really good in this space right now, but I mean, they're just basically talking about what we're going to have to pay to keep personnel in our counties, and that was important. I went to a holiday party, and I reviewed all the materials from the NACO Justice and Public Safety, where they talked about justice accounts, election analysis, juvenile justice innovation, legislative update, and I also did attend the mandatory harassment training since we did get an invite for that. I'm glad I did. I want to make sure I get more of these invites and attend them. The harassment training was, I've been to a few of these over the years. This one I thought was run particularly well. They absolutely covered everything they had to cover without being preachy or annoying, and got it very.
Annoying.
Yeah, it can be. Harassment training can be super annoying. It can be one of those things you just don't want to sit through. And I know that sounds perhaps a little bit weird, but it is. It can be a very, very annoying training to attend. But in this case, it was done very, very effectively, and I really, really liked it, actually. So kudos to our staff.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I wanted to say one more thing.
Yep.
I almost forgot. While at AMC, one of the things that did occur to me was how much we are going to miss Commissioner Folby. Because Realistically, she's involved in so much at the state level, which we don't have anybody working on right now. And there's just been so much that you've done for the county, and you've been so active as a commissioner over the years that it's going to be really, really hard for the rest of us to pick up the slack and to take care of the things that you used to take care of for us. And some of them I don't even know how to do. So there's going to be a learning curve for a lot of us, and I really do appreciate your work over the years. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I would be ditto, ditto, and ditto. One thing I did want to say in regards to the AMC annual conference, I appreciate the staff that did come down. There are so many great breakout opportunities that are provided that I would really like to see more of our staff come down and participate in those opportunities, because I think it's a huge, you just get more of a perspective that getting outside of your, I might call it a bubble, and they can really get some great information. So I would like to see that with more of our department heads. I know that it's challenging, but I think it's highly important. I would have loved to have seen maybe even our economic development person down there, because there was a ton of stuff. And we can only absorb so much.
Both Dan and Brian were down there.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see him. I missed him,
Yeah,
sorry.
HHS was down in force. Dan and Brian were down. Andrew came down for one event, I believe.
Perfect.
Probably Lynn and Dave, depending on the topics, would be good
Yeah.
too. So that, and then Corey from APSED. So
Perfect. All right. Thank you. And thank you to staff that did that.
That was great. So, thank you, Mr. Chair, for your comments, and I'll share what I've been doing in the last couple weeks, Truth in Taxation hearing, as you were all there. The AMC conference, I had my last board meeting with the Association of Minnesota Counties, and I also want to say thanks so much for staff that were a part of the conference. I think so much that happens there that's presented. There's been so many workshops that I've been in that I'm like, I wish my staff were here. So it was great having staff there. It's also just a great time to be with the board in a different venue, in a different way. So I think the team building can't be, it's pretty great to get away from our desks, away from our roles, and be together in a different way. So that was great. I did drive back during that for the Employee Resource Group Pride Alliance meeting. The MICA meeting that we had, they are working on hiring a new executive director, so we got a lot of good applicants for that, so stay tuned. And I would really encourage you all, the event, the annual legislative event that's on January 20th is open to all board members and staff leadership, so really encourage you all to take part of that if you're able to this year. The SHAC meeting, the State Community Health Services Advisory Committee, is what SHAC stands for. That is our public health committee through the state and the county partnerships. I did attend the holiday luncheon. And then Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services, we had our operations committee, we had our community and government relations committee, had our workforce committee, and our joint powers board. At the Joint Powers Board, I currently chair that board, so we did pass the baton on to the next chair already, effective January 1st. And something I want to say about, I'll just name the ones that I can think of: Central Minnesota Council on Aging, Great River Regional Library, Central Minnesota Jobs and Training, First Steps. Those are all statutorily joint powers board that require commissioners to be on. So in the past, there's been criticism of certain board members taking on so much. We don't have a choice, really, in all of this. There's statutorily certain boards, and I don't know if that could be indicated on the committee assignment sheet, because there's just stuff that we're required to do by statute. So I just leave that with you. In all of those that I mentioned in the last 8 years, at some point I either served on executive or chaired. So if anyone is taking over on those, please let me know if you want to meet and chat about them. I've got 8 years of experience on each of them and would be more than willing to share, whatever I've learned on those. So And then I'd like to make a little statement if I can, Mr. Chair, as you know, and I wrote down some notes because when I get nervous, when I don't feel well, I don't want to miss anyone. So I just want to, since I am taking my leave here as county commissioners after 8 years, I do so with just great gratitude and pride in the journey that we've all shared together. To the residents of Sherburne, I thank them for the incredible honor of electing me to serve you. Their trust in me they've been my guiding light over these years. It's been such a privilege to sit in kitchens, in businesses, and listen to the people. And they've helped morph, whether it's been the projects we worked on or the policy that we put in place. They've helped us shape that so it's better for all. I'll always be grateful to the residents of Sherburne County. To the incredible staff, you are the unsung heroes of this work. Thanks for putting up with me, first of all. I think what a challenging thing to have 5 county board members that look at things differently or think about things differently. So thanks for putting up with me over this. We may set the policies, set the budgets, things like that, but you are the people that bring that to life every day when you wake up in choosing to work for Sherburne County. Your dedication, expertise, and care for each individual that you come across and for our community in general has inspired me. Thank you so much to the staff for your efforts in making this county thrive. To my fellow board members, those that are sitting here and those that I served with on the old board, thanks for challenging me, for supporting me and helping me grow and be a better leader. Our work isn't always easy, but it's worth it. It's really worth it. Together, we've made decisions that have a lasting impact on our residents, and for that, I'm deeply proud. To our partners, we work with partners all the time, so whether it's our municipalities, our nonprofits, our neighboring counties, state and federal partners, and government agencies, I thank you for sharing in this work. Collaboration is at the heart of all that we do. You can't do it alone, and I wouldn't even try to do it alone. See who you need at the table to get something done. So your willingness to work with it together has shown me what we can achieve and do better as we support the common good. And finally, to my family and friends, thanks for walking this journey with me. Most people know my first election was in 1999. And without that support of family and friends, their love has been the support and the bedrock of my ability to serve. They've sacrificed time, endured my endless conversations about meetings, certain people, and projects, and lifted me up when I needed it most. So I could not have done this without my family and friends. And I know I'm forgetting someone out there because there's been just so many people, but as I step away from this role, as I said, I'm filled with gratitude and pride and will be watching from my corner in the world for all the great things that come out of this county. So thank you so much. It's been truly an honor to serve.
So then it falls to me to drag us back to actual business. Let's see, so we are at,
If you want to
we are going to recess.
take a 10-minute break and then do the ditch.
Yeah, we can do that.
It'll be really quick.
Oh, they want a quick ditch today, so are you okay doing that and then taking a recess?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right.
Mike's not here, I can do that.
So then we will recess the regular meeting and open the ditch authority meeting.
See, we thought you were going to bring videos and, exploding beaver dams and stuff.
We need to review and approve the ditch authority agenda.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Halt, seconded by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries. And we will now get the ditch drainage report.
Did he do any slides? Okay. Okay. All right. Mike's not here, so I'm handing it over to Andrew.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. County board members will be brief. Mike Lindenau is out sick today. We hope he gets better quickly, but you received the ditch technician report. There are a couple of ditches. We had some beaver dam issues, so we took care of those. One of them was in close proximity to a pasture, so we found other ways to get rid of those dams and remove them mechanically versus explosively. So if there aren't any questions, I'll look for approval of that. If there are questions, I can certainly bring those back to Mr. Lindenow.
I move to approve.
Commissioner Haltz moves to approve.
I'll second.
Commissioner Gray seconds. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm sure that those animals appreciated not having a explosion going on next to them, so very thoughtful.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries. And so then, at this point, we are on to closing the Ditch Authority meeting, and we're going to adjourn the regular meeting and commence employee recognition at 10:55.
Mr. Chair, real quick, Bruce, can you send us out all of those dates that you went over in your
Report? Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and I did notice that we left off 2 future workshops, just FYI. There was a request for the board for the energy discussion on baseload energy with the utility companies, so we are going to schedule that. And as part of that, we're also going to do a fire department briefing with the energy companies on lithium batteries and e-vehicles, because the fire departments are concerned when those suckers go up in flames. And then the second one is Kathy and her Cracker Jack staff and I will be back in January with an update on cannabis. With the state delay, we're not in the business yet, and we also had some questions come up from some townships that we're working through. So we'll have a workshop on that probably at that business meeting in January.
Yeah, it's tough to imagine things involving cannabis not getting done on time.
Greg's going to start.
Here we go again. All right, so now we'll actually adjourn until 10:55 for the employee recognition.
And that's going to be